Hello everyone, thank you for watching. I'm Tyler Edlin and this is Brush Saucer episode 10, and I'll be kind of talking about my process about going about being inspired and how that affects the designs that I do. So this will be more or less not a video on the fundamentals of design and things whatnot, things like that. That Scott Robertson has a fantastic channel pretty much dedicated to that, so I'm not gonna, overstep on his turf there. So anyway, here we go. I've been working on a personal project for a month or two now, and I'm developing this, fantasy race because that's kind of stuff I'm interested in. And in this case, it's kind of like a fish type race, an aquatic species, but they're on land and they live in ships, giant merchant ships, and that's what I've been drawing in my sketchbook at night. Here's some, I thought I had more than that around here. Anyway, here's some direct scans from my sketchbook. Nothing special. I'm not that great of a draftsman, if you ask me. But I'm trying to come up with some designs for their migrant fleet here that they'll live on, and that's what I'll be covering basically in this video. And I'll show you how I go about drawing one of these. And yeah, before I start rambling even more, I started with this some basic sketches, and then it's progressive to this. So this guy is where I've arrived for what the basic character in this race may or may not look like. I'm kind of liking where it's going, and thought I talked about how I got inspired to get up to this point before I go and make a painting, a concept painting out of all this. So here's some of the inspiration that I have kind of gathered. This is just like an example of things I'd look up, and I'll talk about what to Google and maybe why I did. And yeah, I just like to come up with something at least remotely original. I just like to take inspirations from everything, man-made things, nature, and even existing media. So this is image on the left here. I would Google like geometric patterns in nature, for example. Even the titles there, but I typed in, I think, patterns in nature, and you get all kinds of great results with that, and it just helps your guide your eye, which or your hand, to coming up with different patterns that if you're drawing without reference, you might not be able to come up with all the time. You'll start drawing the same thing over and over again. You have to train your muscle memory further, and I do that by kind of studying what's going on in here. None of these patterns may or may not have directly affected any of the designs I did, but I kind of liked, the organicness of it all. It's and the texture, really, because I wanted to have organic looking ornamentation on the ship itself. Like it's from an age of antiquity that's long past, and it's just kind of old and ruined now in a land of war. So that's why I have some of this architectural reference there too, because I'm going to be making basically they're floating fortresses, so to speak, but not really fortresses, but yeah. So I would Google you know ornate architecture, old European architecture, things along those lines, and that'll kind of get you images like this. And I think these are right from one of these. A great site too to look for these is on like cgtextures.com. That's where I got a lot of these, and so that's how I get some of this heavy machinery here. I've worked in machine shops where these types of machines would be commonplace. So I would type in mechanical drill press or heavy machine, just things like that, just to help get maybe they'll inspire me to get some of the underlying structure of what I plan on drawing in there, or just help break up the organicness of some of the patterns and shapes I will do. Have often get some good results if you juxtapose genres and design. So that's kind of why I'm mixing and mashing everything, and keep this on my reference side, and hopefully that'll all come out into the drawing I do. And then I have a lionfish here, which I kind of base more or less the fish guy's armor and design itself on. I would just, the way the lines move and work within one another, I kind of pulled a lot from the lionfish. Some of that may not be obvious. So anyway, I'd like to begin the demo of just my doodle now. Alright, this is what I would normally be drawing in my sketchbook, but since I don't have a way of recording that, I just duplicate the effect on the computer, basically. I'm not quite as fast on the machine as I am in an actual sketchbook when it comes to this type of stuff. Yeah, I start with the silhouette, the most basic part of it. Everything should be read in terms, and when I think in terms of silhouette, to kind of see how good or identifiable it is. Like if I'm drawing 50 ships, if they're all for different cultures, races, it'd be nice to have enough distinguishable features on a silhouette to kind of pick out what it is or what its purpose. So that's why I'm drawing. Like if I'm drawing a warship, it's gonna have big cannons and stuff. This is just like a little vessel, and it's not really made for war, so it's just got a little gun. It'll More important features would be it's kind of got like this fin in the back for speed. This would kind of be like, I'm guessing, like a ferry might house like a single little family of these guys. And then yeah, so that would be the purpose. It'd have maybe like a wide hatch in the back, which I don't even draw at this angle, but I just try to get as many as my ideas as across in this one drawing. And I think I'd have to draw this basically 50 different varieties, to really, ideally, if I had the time, to really just feel it out and develop things a little better. And if I'm having, design-wise, I'm thinking if I have this wing kind of come out, I need to have brackets on it to support it all. Everything should, design should always follow the function of what something is. And when I'm coming up with these shapes within the silhouette itself, I'm trying to find a rhythm or harmony within that. Basically, shapes that relate to another. Right now, what's alienating me the most, or I'm feeling not that confident about, is this kind of top fin that I just added there, like a wind sail. It's just a little too sharp and angular for the rest of it. Probably have to go back and revisit that, but I was just trying to generate this quick and whatnot. So I'm basically going to take it from here and go up to the full painting and start composing an entire scene where this would kind of just serve as the basis of that. And so I'll start kind of weigh in and lay down a couple of the first few layers, stuff that you've seen in plenty of my other videos, so nothing fancy. Alright, so I'm kind of part ways into this painting. I've done nothing special so far. I have a layer that's the sky, a layer that's the ocean, and then a layer pretty much for the ships I'm working on. And you can see even right now at this stage, when I start to block out these scenes, these ships are literally just a couple kind of paint blotches, just really crude looking shapes. They're more like placeholders at this point. I'm just kind of like designing as I go, really. And this isn't, I mean, I have the sketches I did that you saw I'm kind of going off of, but you'll see me go through a lot of different design ideas I have for like the front of these ships and whatnot, because nothing's ever set in stone, especially when I'm working on my own things. I kind of can't make up my mind about things, which is why this is kind of sped up at like 10 times the regular speed, so you don't have to watch me labor over mistakes or things I don't commit to. I respect your time, so I have it sped up. But yeah, I'm just trying to make something that would fit into a fantasy realm, but not feel totally alien and like maybe like a little sci-fi-ish. Because I'm taking the classical type of European architecture, and I'm just kind of making it all steel and iron, and then adding some kind of ornamentation throughout the whole thing, derived from those patterns in nature that I showed you. So you'll be seeing me kind of battle this image, working on this at that level. It's also good to know, since this was originally intended as like a speed painting. Like, I wasn't gonna commit a little more time to it, like maybe top it off at 2 or 3 hours, but I ended up kind of liking what was going on, so I ended up working on it longer. So for that reason, I didn't kind of make a formal perspective grid or anything. This is all just kind of freehanding and eyeing it. So I don't know, maybe some for that reason as well. Some of my work gets a little more character and personality because it's not that straight or accurate. Yeah, and just really just blocking it in, working with the most pretty much muted colors and tones. I don't get anything too dynamic on this one. Once you start with these darker shades of like purple and indigo, whatever you want to call it, you just move the color wheel or the color picker slider over slightly, and you can get that's how I get the greens, a little bit of the magentas, and even a little bit of yellows in there as well. You have to make this look like it was once a pristine vessel, and now it's seen lots of wear and tear. I like the idea of the face on the front of the ship. It's like it'll represent that it's going to be used for a monarch or something, and then the dome with all the windows that I'm kind of been working on now will kind of be where the bridge will be. And if I want to do a brush sauce video on interiors, because I don't know, I kind of handle those a lot differently than I do something like this. So it'd be cool to concept out like the bridge room where the commander stands or whatever and drives this beast. That'd be kind of fun. Hopefully time will allow that. I'd gladly show you guys how I'd come up with something like that. Yeah, and then I got these, I came up with the ideas that I'd have like these giant mechanized oars kind of coming out from the bottom of it. They'd help, for stability, and then, propulsion. Maybe I'd have some propellers underneath it on the back. I've never really. This is something I'm just kind of making up as I go, so I don't know what the back would even look like at this point. So lots of room to explore in the future, anyways. First when I do these windows, I keep them on their own layer, and eventually I accidentally overpaint them, but if they're on their own layer, then I can go back and select them and paint in easy sky reflections and stuff. And those are my terrible freehand ellipses. I think I go back with the liquify tool is great for kind of fixing that stuff. If you guys didn't know that, it's what I tend to use, and I put some antennas up there with some flags. I know I've been playing some of that the 3DS game Bravely Default lately. I've been really inspired by kind of the designs in that game. There's even this one town that's would be a massive vessel that's kind of a bit bigger than this. I didn't want to. I wanted to stray from copying that directly. I've had the idea for this fleet for a long time, but I was definitely kind of motivated by the designs in that to get going and drop these ships. So try and make them as different as I can. But it's a fantastic game, great sound design and art direction. I could definitely recommend that game to anybody. And a lot of I'm still trying to keep this relatively fast. Like, I don't want to go and I want to leave a little bit of a mystery and to detail wise for the imagination. So that's why I'm not going in and painting every window and deck and strut like perfectly. I'm keeping it fairly zoomed out and just suggesting a lot of it. I'm just not that pixel perfect type of painter, I guess. Trying to keep as much energy in the ship as I did in the ocean, and I'll get to the ocean up in the next bit, and that's kind of where I'll just kind of conclude and then end with just a time lapse with maybe some sound or music or something. But yeah, I painted the ocean with just some greens, and I have all the forms built basically at this point with them, and then I'll kind of show you how I just overlay some basically some photography over it to quickly suggest the detail. I don't like to start with the photos because then you kind of become a slave to them and have to kind of yield to them, and I don't want that. So I like to start really loose and painterly and then just use hints of the photograph to imply some more detail, and not the other way around, because I don't really want this to look too photo-y. And I'm sure I'll have some of you that are asking about my brushes, the brushes that I use. I will try to remember to include a link to them in the video description so you can just grab them there. And see, I did a canvas extension here. I think it's about 5,000 pixels wide at this point, for those interested. And I'll bring up some of my ocean reference that I've been using all along, and then finally just drop some in for some quick detail. Because this is more of like, this is, I'd call, mood painting. It's more about the tone and the gesture of it all. I'm trying to showcase a design. See, I think I could probably hand paint a lot of the waves by hand, but again, it's just for time's sake. And I'm trying to make the sky a bit more expressive and moody as well, so I'm just overpainting with some smudges and real textury types of brushes, and I dial it back. I think it's just a regular mode, and I just kind of smudge and smear a lot of the paint, and then that was like with the basic airbrush. And then if you use like a rake type of brush, when you smudge it, it will add the streaks to it, like a painter streak. And then I'm experimenting with different ways of lighting it. And a lot of that's just too much, and I don't go with it at all. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed 4 lately too. I've been inspired by that. That and Bravely Default really pushed me to get on and paint this up. So this is an actual wave brush I have there. And yeah, see, I just want to use some of the foaminess of it, so I'll overlay it. I think that's on a lighten layer type, and then I will warp it into the form of the wave, because that's how I want the wave to look. I don't want it to help within the photo, but I'm just stealing the detail, and that's all I want to do. For me, I know some guys out there can probably paint that really quickly on their own and have it look fantastic, but I don't know. For me, it would probably just take more time than what it's worth to do all that by hand. So going in and picking some more of that, and that's how I kind of do this type of ocean. So thank you for watching and subscribing, and take care. I will try to get to all the comments the best I can. The new system is really screwy, so it doesn't let me get to them all the time as far as I know, but I will do my best to read them and reply. Thank you.